So I'm here with Justice Gill talking about his new song, It's You. Do you want to tell
us? No, yeah, it's good to be here.
As you can tell, he's very excited.
Yeah. Obviously, bro. I wanted the coolest intro possible, so I decided to go for White Frat Boy.
Yeah, very SoundCloud rapper.
Yeah, exactly. Not at all what I am, but yeah.
Have you ever released like music on SoundCloud?
It's different because the music I release like automatically releases on like most platforms, but SoundCloud's often excluded, so I have to like manually upload SoundCloud stuff.
Oh, that's so weird.
But I've never uploaded SoundCloud rap, and I don't ever plan to in my life.
Well, I don't know. Maybe if your record label wants it.
Yeah, we'll see. A record label hit me up. They'll be like, you know what? I like the song, but have you ever thought of doing rap? I mean, that's where the check is.
If I can pay off my loans with it, I guess.
I can pay off my student loans and buy a house with it, yes. But if not, that intro was funny, bro. I was going to be like, let's go again, but I'm like, nah. Oh, man.
Your family's going to be listening and they'll be like, wait, is this for real?
My parents will be dying, bro. So maybe they'll be glaring at me, and I'll be like, I was joking.
Yeah. It was a bit. We talked about it before.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So when did you get started with music?
I started writing music when I was 15 years old. That's the same time I started learning guitar. Before that, I played a little bit of piano growing up, but I never really got that deep into music until I was 15. Different things going on in life made that my creative output at that time, and it was definitely very therapeutic, I guess, is the best way of putting it. And yeah, since then I've gotten really, really into it, and I'm still writing and making music today, obviously.
That's so cool. So when did you do like your first song that you've ever written?
When did I write it, or when did I like work on recording it?
All of the above, honestly.
Okay. I started writing when I was 15. I finished my first song when I was 15. It was actually, well, me and my brother wrote the chorus for it a year earlier. We were like, the idea was we were just making fun of music that was written today. We were like, bro, I could write a song so easily. And then we just wrote like a really bad chorus, but it actually turned out pretty good. And so the first song I wrote, I grabbed that chorus that I wrote when I was 14 with my brother, and then I wrote verses to it. It was called Get You Back, and it's like the most One Direction slash like young Justin Bieber song you'll ever hear.
Very boy band.
Yeah, very, very boy band for the time period too. It made perfect sense. But I didn't start recording stuff until 2018 was the first time I started trying to record.
Okay. So what kind of songs have you done since then?
Right now I'm still working on my first album. Initially I put out 3 songs called Circles, Runes, and Silver and Gold. But when I wrote It's You, I felt that was a good reset on what I was putting out, because beforehand I was putting music out, but it wasn't at quite a nearly the professional level that It's You was at. It sounded very much like bedroom tracks that you just recorded while sitting on your bed. And I like the vibe of that, but I wanted to go for a more professional, more official take on my music. So It's You's the first official song I've put out, I guess.
So where'd you get inspiration for that song?
My biggest inspirations for that song and for music overall, Shawn Mendes, Ed Sheeran, Daniel Caesar, John Mayer is a huge one. He's one of the main reasons why I wanted to learn guitar in the first place. I think you pronounce it Giveon. Most people know him from the Chicago Freestyle song with Drake, but he had a really great song called Heartbreak Anniversary that I listened to. I was like, you know what? I should try to write something similar to this. But yeah, those are the main inspirations for music overall, but especially for this song.
seize this moment, 'cause you look so perfect. Can't take my eyes off you. Hold me, I swear you won't let go as we dance slowly. Say these words you've heard before. You, oh, it's you. Everything I'll ever want and everything I'll ever need is you. Oh, it's you. I'll never need another, 'cause this love is like no other. My world, my joy is you. So come around me like you do. If God answered wishes, then I don't know the giving, 'cause all my dreams came true in you. You don't ever have to worry, 'cause you're the start and the end of my story. All my love's only for you. Hold me, I swear you won't let go as we dance slowly. I'll say these words you've heard before. You, oh, it's you. Everything I'll ever want and everything I'll ever need is you. Oh, it's you. I want you here with me forever, 'cause our love is like no other. You should know. Dream my love is you. So come love me like you do. It's you, oh, it's you. Everything I'll ever want and everything I'll ever need is you. Oh, it's you. All the wind, the rain, and thunder will never change the love I have for her. You know, the love of my life is you. I'll never know why you love me like you do.
The album name currently is A Broken and a Contrite Heart. For short, just Contrite Heart. But the main message I want to put out is just the complexities of growing up and the multiple different stories and different takes you get on relationships and love and just experiences even outside that realm, like more personal stuff, like mental health, and things along those lines. I guess it's just a collection of stories I wrote between 15 and 20, just handpicking them, and then telling them the best way I know how, which is through music. And so, yeah, I just hope it's an interesting look. Either stories I'm personally writing from, or just perspectives I'm trying to write from that I've never quite experienced. But hoping to either shed light on what other people might have gone through in a similar way, or just put my experience out there so people can maybe learn something from it.
That sounds really cool, like really personal and everything too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when were you thinking of like getting that out?
Early next year, hopefully. I'm planning on mid-January, but yeah, that's the current plan, that if I could get it all recorded by then it'll be out mid-January, but potentially late January. It's just definitely January though.
Okay. Take us through your recording process. Like, where do you do it? How do you do it?
Recording and writing, or just recording?
Let's do writing too.
Okay. My writing process, it honestly depends on the songs. The main process, I guess, is I come up with a phrase that is commonly said, and then write my experience around that phrase, I guess. And then other times I'll just be goofing around on guitar. I'll come up with this chord sequence. Usually it's finger style, and then I'll be like, you know what, I actually like how that sounds. Let me record that, and then I'll just come up with words based on how I'm feeling about that chord sequence. Yeah, it's very dependent on the song, but overall it starts with a phrase or a feeling, and then I just write as much as possible about that feeling. Just write whatever I'm thinking about it, or if it's a specific story, just write everything I'm feeling about it, and then come up with some sort of melody, and then write to that melody.
Okay, so do you record all your own songs? Like, because you can play piano, you can play guitar. Do you do the other instrumentals too?
No, I really want to, I guess the most authentic take I can do on my music is just me and my guitar. So I try to keep it as simple as possible, not only because I want to keep it as authentic to me, but I want to be able to perform it live easily. And I think it's just, for the stories I'm telling, it's the best way to tell them. And the main focus for me is the story I'm telling, not necessarily the background music or I guess the additional instruments I can add. It's just simplifying it to the point where the focus is on the story.
Okay. So do you play live? Have you played live before? Like live music, live concert venues?
Mm-hmm. Well, I haven't done anything that big yet, but I have participated in the MU Spotlight events. I don't know what they're called now, but I know at the time they were called MU Spotlight, which are yearly events run by, I think it's MUSG, and student acts can audition and then perform in varsity theater in front of other students. I know it was virtual this year, so I wasn't really, and it was a bit more complicated, the process was, so I didn't perform this year, but that was the first in 2018. November of 2018 was the first time I performed live. And I performed Ghost of You by 5 Seconds of Summer at MU Spotlight. So that was quite the experience. I'll say that much about it.
Was it nerve-wracking? I can't imagine like getting up in front of so many people.
Yeah, I was really pushing to go first just so I could have as little nerves as possible and just get out of the way. And then when they handed me the lineup, I was the act before the last.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, we'll just we'll go along with this one. And yeah, I was definitely nervous, but I spent enough time by the stage beforehand just being nervous that by the time I got up there, I wasn't nearly as nervous. And by that point, I was just ready to be led by my guitar and ready to perform in the most authentic way and in the best way possible. So yeah, I think it's the same anytime I perform. Like, I'm really, really nervous beforehand, but as soon as I get up there, I'm just ready to tell my story. So yeah, a lot of the nerves are removed and I feel much more at home. And I guess I'm so excited to share the story that the nerves or the potential for judgment or anything along those lines, I just forget about it for the most part.
Yeah, it seems like all your nerves kind of like, you nerve yourself out, I guess, almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So with like virtual now that so much is virtual, were you thinking of doing any virtual concerts, or are you waiting until things open up again?
I think I think there's potential for a virtual concert. I'd love to virtually play through my album once I put it out, like do literally a bedroom run through of the whole thing, and then put that up on IGTV or put it up on Facebook or on other social media platforms. But that's definitely something I'm interested in doing. But yeah, I'm really excited for when venues and just gatherings of people more than 50 are a thing again. Because I'm not going to sell at a stadium or anything, at least not right now. But being able to play for groups of students or being able to play for bigger groups of friends and family is something that I'm really excited to do. And again, just continue to share what I've written and my stories. Yeah, the preferred setting is always in person for that kind of thing. But with the opportunities that are available right now, I don't see a reason why I shouldn't take advantage of virtual opportunities that come up.
For sure, for sure. So your album, what else are you working on for it? You say the message is like super personal and everything. Is the cover art going to reflect that?
Yeah. Originally, when I was working at cover art, I'd be making my own designs and stuff in Canva and stuff like that. But because I also just don't want pictures of myself on it, because I just can't take a good picture of myself. That's another problem. But recently I've been playing around with older pictures of myself and editing different things onto them and just adding different effects, drawing different things, just trying to have more than just a picture, but have the album art itself like reflect the stories that are contained on the album, and also maybe tell its own story. So yeah, like the album art that comes to mind to base it off of, if you look at MGK's Hotel Diablo album art, where you can look at it once, you're like, oh, it's just a picture of a kid and a bunch of stuff written around him. Then like you see, the more you look at it, the more things you notice about it. That's kind of the album art I love to make, is to make it something where like you see a lot when you first look at it, but the more intensely like you pay attention to what's written around it, all the different things that are drawn on it, you're like, wow, this is its own story, or wow, this complements the album really, really well. That's what I'm hoping to do, album art wise. Yeah.
Yeah, like whenever you listen to it another time, you always see more, or you notice more.
Yeah, I want the art to reflect the music, where every time you listen to the music, you notice something new. You pay attention to different lyric. You're like, wow, that really resonated with me. And the same way with the artwork, where you notice something else on the way you listen to the song. It's like, oh wow, I never saw that before. That's so cool. Or oh wow, that hit home. Or I resonate with that. Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah, I love album art like that. Because I feel like once you like make connections for the song and the album art, like it feels like the artist actually put out a cohesive piece. Means more.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. And so what else were you thinking of doing after this album?
Well, I want to first complete the album, put the album out, and then I love to center some performances around the album, but at the same time continue to write, continue to record, and prepare for the second album. Because this first album, I'm going to handpick 8 songs that I've written over the past 5 years. But there's a lot more songs that I am not going to pick that I want to put out on a second project. And I'm also continuing to write right now to add to that. So I guess first put the album out, perform around the album, hopefully some in-person performances, but continue to write and continue to put music out. Like if I could crank out 2 albums by the end of 2021, I think that'd be the goal, and that'd be awesome. But I also want to take as much time as possible to write my stories in the best way possible, rather than to rush out music just because I want to have something out there.
Yeah, not just a deadline or anything.
Yeah.
Okay. So what kind of songs, you said you're handpicking them. What makes a song stand out that you want to handpick it?
There's a bunch of different things. One of the main ones is just if I feel like it's a message that I haven't heard in music before or haven't heard in music in a while, or it's a unique take on a common topic. So usually it's the lyrics that I've written. Like I could have written something in 2017 and I look at it now, I'm like, I didn't remember writing something that good back then. I thought I was constantly improving, but no, I forgot about that one. So usually it's the lyrics, like different lyrics, either just resonate even more with me as time passes, or ones I'm writing now I feel like resonate with me the most. Usually it's lyrics. Sometimes it's the melody I've attached to it, or like I said, the chord sequence for it. If I listen to it, I'm like, that's really unique, or I like how I did the finger picking on that, or I have really good ideas for a solo I could add onto this, or I'm really excited to do backing vocals on it. It just kind of depends on the song, but yeah, the main thing is just if the lyrics, I feel like, add something to the album and add to the whole picture while at the same time telling their own story.
Okay, cool. So what kind of advice would you give to someone who's starting out, not as much as you are, but even earlier, like around 2016 when you were first starting?
Well, first, I'd say I'm not in the position to give advice to people on music at all. But if I were to give advice to someone or to my younger self, I'd say keep writing and don't be afraid to fail early on with your music, because that's what every artist goes through. Whether the first song you write, you're like, I really, really love this song. Like I poured everything into it and it just isn't well received. Like that can really, really put you down, because music is an output of you, and music, the songs you put out, especially if you pour so much of yourself into them, like they are a part of you. So it can feel like if somebody doesn't like the music that you make, or like your friends and family are like, you know what, that's not my favorite type of music. I don't know why you're making that kind of music. It can feel like an insult to you or them not accepting you. And that's just not the case. It's maybe the stories you're telling just aren't stories that resonate with them. So I'd say keep honing in on your craft, keep practicing, keep putting the time in, because you can only get better. And also don't close off yourself from different stories just because you haven't experienced them. Like sometimes it's very powerful for you to write as if you've had the experience, because it's a different perspective for people. So don't be afraid to write about things you haven't experienced, or to write about things that you don't know much about, because some really great stories can come from that. And I guess just continue to be yourself. Like if you're, for me, like I make, I guess, acoustic pop / R&B. It's hard for me to put it in a genre because it's kind of its own thing. But don't be afraid of where the music leads you. So if you start off in like rock and roll, but you're like, you know what, I really, really like R&B right now. Like that's what I'm listening to. Like, don't place consistency over, I guess, what you really want to do. Like, don't be like, but I started as an acoustic pop artist, so I just got to keep making music like that. It's like, no, the music is an output of you. It's, the legacy is built by you. It's not built around consistency. So let the music grow with you. And yeah, just don't give up on it, no matter what you go through, because it's a part of you.
Yeah, I feel like people sometimes, artists especially, like change up their sound sometimes. And the original audience is like, well, this isn't what I want. But people develop and they change. Like the things they like that do and they do can change.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a good idea to say like, oh, do whatever you want. And kind of like the antithesis of saying, well, like write what you know, but you shouldn't always do that because there's a lot you don't know. Yeah,
I heard a really interesting quote recently, centered around growth. I don't remember who said it, but I'm sure someone could figure that out for me. But she said, unless you're willing to contradict yourself, you aren't willing to grow. So, of course, that can be applied to life in general. But I think even for music, like you said, where the original audience is like, this second project isn't at all like the first. I don't know why the artist would do this. Like, bro, I like the first one so much better. It's like, you forget that the story is as much for them as it is for you, and the messages they're writing are really important to them and like are part of them because they're continually writing as they go through life. So if you're expecting an artist, or if you're an artist and you're expecting to just stay in the same genre of music or to continue to tell the same stories over and over again in different ways, like, that shouldn't be the case, because in order to grow as a musician, you have to be willing to go outside your comfort zone, to contradict yourself. And maybe you'll contradict yourself and fall on your face, and that's okay, because you have a whole lifetime ahead of continuing to contradict yourself, and hopefully one of those times you stay on your feet.
That's a good quote. That's really good.
It's not mine, so nobody give that quote to me. Yeah.
So what else can we expect from you, like, going forward, other than music and everything?
What else can you expect from me as an artist or as an individual?
Both.
Well, artist-wise, I'm going to keep grinding out my music until I get in the position that I want to be. So I guess you can just keep expecting projects to drop from me, whether or not they get a lot of attention or whether or not they somehow get on the iTunes charts or whatever. To me, the outcome is obviously important, but for me, it's right now this is the outlet where I can tell my stories. So I'm going to just keep doing it regardless of what the outcome is of it. And I guess as a person, I'm a junior, so I'm going to be graduating like a year and a half from now. So expect to see a diploma, I guess, and going to law school shortly after that. So,
wow.
Yeah. Unless if somehow I sign a record deal and I start making music with Justin Bieber, then you guys won't see me again. But no. Personally, yeah, I'd be going to law school after college is done in a year and a half, but I'm also going to continue to tell my stories. And I guess the interesting thing about my music is, like, my whole life I found different art forms to tell my stories or to say what I want to say or to just express myself. Like, growing up, it used to be drawing and painting. Like, that's all I would do. As a young teenager, I used to write stories, and then when I turned 15, it turned to music. So I guess the outlets will change, and that's a good thing, because that ties back into the growth thing. Like, it just means I'm growing. So I guess expect to see me doing a lot more than just music. Yeah,
because I feel like sometimes you have feelings inside you, but like other things don't reflect it as much as you can say it does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd agree with that for sure.
Okay, so plug your socials and everything so people can go follow you and figure out it's you. Where is it on? Where can you stream it and everything?
So it's used on all major music platforms, so you can stream it anywhere. For socials, my Instagram is @_JustusGill, JUSTUSGILL. It's the same for Twitter. I just made a Twitter though, so probably won't be on it that much. Snapchat is Justus R. Gill, JUSTUSRGILL. And yeah, those are my socials currently.
Swear you won't let go, sweet and slowly.
For Marquette University Radio, I'm Randi Haseman. Of course.
Going through this was fun.
No worries. It was fun.
Yeah, it was my first interview ever. So
really, you're a natural. You're so good.
Being in the hot seat's something else. You want to take your time to answer the questions, but you also don't want to create suspense and then just say something stupid.
No.
So
when you like pause so you don't say a filler and then you're just like, Wait, what was I gonna say? I didn't even know.
I'm like, still pull out the
No
filler.
worries, no worries.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a lot of fun.
No, we should definitely do this again.
Mm-hmm.
After your album comes out, we can do a follow-up.
Yes, bro, that'd be dope.
Yeah. After, maybe if we come back, I don't know. Who knows with Marquette right now, but...
Or we could do a Teams.
Yes.
Take advantage of those virtual spaces. That's what I'm saying.